You are now a WWE Superstar. Congratulations. Now you're gonna have to wrestle me.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Professional wrestling has all sorts of different folk involved. There's been good guys, bad guys, and everything in between, and I'm not even just talking about on-screen kayfabe here, but the behind-the-scenes business as well. Plenty of wrestlers have been notoriously difficult to work with, and some are just straight up not good people, i.e. Shawn Michaels during the drugged up 90s. But there's plenty of wrestlers who you might immediately assume are toxic, but end up being some of the nicest people on the planet. I'm D-Wicked from Watch WWE, and here's 10 wrestlers that are shockingly nice. Number 10, Brock Lesnar. He actually might be one of the most shocking on the whole list, if you assumed him to, well, be Brock Lesnar, but let's be honest, the topic of Brock surprisingly being a good dude has come up on this channel more times than the screw job, so I'll throw you a bone and get him out the way first. Brock Lesnar, more than maybe anyone else on the roster, is a perfect case for garnering hatred based on his character. In kayfabe, Brock does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and does not care. That's his character, basically. Because he's such a hot product and actually shows up pretty rarely, people assume that kayfabe Brock and real-life Brock may as well be the same guy. This is false. Lesnar does care, in fact, quite a bit about pro wrestling. He just hates the travel and other company aspects of the business. I mean, if you had the chance to earn that much doing that little, would you just not take it?
Oh, shit. I'm working here now. I gotta earn some money.
Number 9, The Miz. A lot like Brock, Miz is one of those dudes who might get some actual haters due to just how good he is at playing the heel. But just like how smart people tend to play the best idiots, sweethearts also seem pretty good at playing pretty hateable. Not only does Miz have the kind of face that magnetizes my fist towards, but he's just so good at getting heat. He was pretty good by the start of the last decade. He was one of the greatest heels on the roster at the start of this one. But once again, from all accounts, he's a great dude.
I've turned into a good guy. People know Mike Mizanin now on my show, and they look at me and they go, oh, we like him.
Does that ruin it in a way?
Yes, it does.
In fact, he's one of WWE's top ambassadors just because he's so likable anytime he's not on the screen. Why do you think they gave him a show all about his life and wife? Oh yeah, that show exists. This might have been a pointless entry, huh?
I'm gonna autograph this for you. Who is your favorite WWE superstar?
Really?
Number 8, Randy Orton. If Lesnar gives off an aura of not caring, Orton produces full-on clouds of lackadaisical. Let's call him that. Lackadaisical clouds. Randy's one of the best natural performers of all time, no question, and one of the many gifts his father, the cowboy Bob Orton, passed down was the ability to get heat really well. He plays a sadistic psychopath perfectly, and if you ever hear him talk about his own work, you know the little details are Orton's bread and butter. Every little thing is so meticulously done that one honestly might think he's not playing a character. He is the character. But nah, Randy's like the chillest dude alive. Every behind the scenes video of him is just like him messing around. Now sure, some of those messings around, those are kind of hard to defend, actually. He's mainly making the list because if I was going to make the opposite of this list a decade ago, he would have easily earned a spot, but since marrying his current wife, he's lost his temper and really, well, produced that cloud of lackadaisical.
You know, I'm a bad guy, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's motivating to me to know that there's fans out there like you. I'm going to go get to Raw, get to kicking some butt.
Number 7, Chris Jericho. 2 iffy-ish entries in a row, I know, but both Orton and Jericho are so good at being douches on screen that even if they might not be the most saint-like of people, they're still subverting expectations enough to impress. Chris Jericho currently plays one of the most entertaining bad guys in all of wrestling, and even though he panders a decent bit to the fans like us, he still comes across as a bad guy. A very bad guy, actually, as once he lost his title, he sort of turned Orton psychotic a little bit, doing stuff like attempted murder of a young buck. While Jericho might have a bit of an ego to him, that's 1, pretty fair, and 2, paling in comparison to all the good he does, from the quiet charity donations to helping out other wrestlers as much as he can. Just listen to this podcast. You can tell within minutes that he's actually a good dude.
Funny story, in about the mid-2000s when Vince McMahon decided that you couldn't be from Canada and be a babyface in the WWE for whatever reason.
Number 6, Andrade. Cien Almas. I still miss the full name. Anyways, our current United States title holder Andrade has become one of the best received wrestlers to come up from NXT over the last few years. I mean, there's been some real stinkers since 2017, but all things considered, Andrade's been doing pretty well for himself. He's got a championship, he's got a stable seemingly forming around him, he's got a Selena Vega. The man's ready to run the whole company, and that's in no small part due to just how likable the man is. You wouldn't guess it from seeing him on screen, but it's been reported that after Vince told Andrade to work on his English, he started going around and, well, practicing his English backstage by just simply getting along with all his peers and showing off that bright personality. In fact, people from the company have said Andrade legit might be the single most liked man behind the scenes, although Charlotte was one of those people, and I think she might have a bias.
From behind, it's Andrade with a sneak attack on Mysterio. All a setup thanks to Zelina Vega.
Number 5, Vicky Guerrero. Oh, why not? The rest of this list is going to stay modern, but let's let Vicky join in on the fun. She sure deserves it after all. For years, Vicky Guerrero might have been the best heel in WWE, and that's sort of baffling, not only because she was married to Eddie Guerrero, maybe the single most beloved wrestler of all time, but because she wasn't even a wrestler. Instead, she garnered her heat as a manager, as well as a general manager, where she probably peaked as a character. I guarantee that almost everyone watching this can distinctly hear her in her voice right now. So honestly, I don't think I even need to continue. But when it comes to kindness, Vicky comes off as an absolute sweetheart every time she's not playing her character. Fun little fact for anyone who didn't believe the Brock entry, Vicky says that when they see each other, Brock always tells her that he thinks of Eddie every single day. Oh, isn't that nice?
Stay safe and, and move mountains and be you, and who cares what everyone else thinks, because Eddie's in your heart.
Number 4, MJF. He has to be, right? It's the Miz all over again. It's the Miz. He's so good at being so bad that he's got to be like the kindest man in the whole world. It's got to be it. But we don't really know, because that's the mystery. MJF is an incredibly rare example of a pro wrestler who refuses to break kayfabe. Not once, not on social media, not on any video of him you're going to find online. Never. The dude is always in character, and his character might be the best heel on the whole list. In fact, give him a year or two, I think MJF might be the #1 heel in all of wrestling. But what's he really like? Maybe he's not even playing a character and genuinely means every word he says.
What, are you guys having flashbacks of being shoved in lockers again? I'm so sorry. That must just be awful.
This was probably another pointless entry, but I'm gonna make it my life mission to get this man to break character if I have to, just to see what he's really like.
And in that ring, wait, Brett, a fan's coming up. Ha ha!
Cheap, just cheap.
Oh my God!
Number 3, Sami Zayn. Originally, I had his best friend KO here before forgetting that he's been a babyface for like a year now. Genuinely, that's how good KO is at healing it up. So call this an honorable mention for good old Kevin Owens. As for Sami, now there's another character good at drawing in the boos. Just like Owens, Zayn always has something to say, and it almost always makes you want to knock him out. But as far as the real man, he might come off a bit zany, ironically, but just take a look at Sammy for Syria and pretty much anything he's ever said on Twitter for confirmation of what the man's really like.
First and foremost, it's been 3 weeks since we launched the Sammy for Syria campaign, and in that time we have managed to raise $40,000.
Number 2, Braun Strowman. He's big and scary looking. Gotta be evil, right? Oddly enough, there seems to be some people who really have that mentality, and I don't just mean kids. Braun also didn't exactly do himself many favors about a month ago when he called out people asking for handouts during a pandemic, but I digress because I don't think that fully sums up who he is. I mean, he has also gotten into some very petty, childish social media interactions before. Am I changing my mind about an entry during the entry? That's a first, but it's still yet to come because everyone's got some flaws, but we're only seeing a select piece of the pie making up this dude's life. All things considered, including how highly everyone in the company has talked about him before, and how he did on that cooking show, I'll go ahead and say to not assume things, and that Braun sounds like a solid man.
You are now a WWE Superstar. Congratulations. Now you're going to have to wrestle me.
And number 1, Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is currently a babyface, and it's the weirdest thing ever. Mostly because it's a rare example of a gray area character working perfectly. She's got her best friend Nikki Cross to bounce off of perfectly, and despite the fact that everyone, and I mean everyone, quote unquote, knew Alexa was going to turn on Nikki after she wasn't useful anymore, the pair currently sit as the women's tag team champions. Even though they're the good guys, Alexa is still Alexa Bliss. She just didn't suddenly jarringly 180 into a sweetheart. She's still got her attitude for sure, just toned down a good bit. As for Alexa in real life, I know I'm sounding very much like a broken record here, but she's topping the list because from all accounts, she is actually the sweetest woman alive. I mean, come on. She got a pig.
I think you're kind of cute too. I can just say this though, Braun. We're going all the way.
And those were 10 shockingly nice wrestlers. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below after liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications-ing that bell.